I was 6 years old. It was my brother, my father, and I. My mother was already here. So my mother was in the States for a year before my father decided that him, my brother, and I should leave our home state of Mexico and join my mother in the United States. The only thing I remember, because I was fairly young while I lived there, so I can tell you that I lived in a tourist area, and I remember the beach, and I remember going to kindergarten there, and a couple months of my first grade year, but that is honestly all I can say. I didn't know anything of like exactly how I got here until I was maybe 10 or 11, that I found out that I did not have the proper documentation. But regardless, I felt like a normal kid because I was doing everything that a normal kid was doing. Being a 10-year-old, it didn't really affect me as much as it did being a 16-year-old trying to get herself a job and, a driver's license and everything else that all the other 16-year-olds were doing. When President Obama introduced the DACA program, it was like a breath of fresh air. It was like we were drowning and we came up for, fresh air. We as in us streamers were so relieved to get an opportunity to demonstrate what we could offer this country. We were allowed to have a taste of what the American dream could be if we keep fighting for it. And just overall, I was very excited about the fact that for once we would get to be normal just like everyone else.
And what did it mean to you, and how did you benefit from it?
For me, it meant that, like I said, I would get a taste of the American dream, and I would get to, in a way, hide my status from everyone else, like from my friends and co-workers and stuff, because if they asked, yeah, I had a Social Security. If they asked, yeah, I was working legally. If they asked, I could tell them my actual name rather than using an alias like many of the adults in the Hispanic community back in my hometown. It gave me benefits like I said, being able to get a Social Security number rather than, trying to figure out how other people had done that for so many years. It gave me my worker's permit, which pretty much allowed me to get a job anywhere I wanted to. It allowed me to get a driver's license so I could easily commute back and forth from school and work and, everything. Most importantly, it gave me the benefit of being able to calmly walk through the streets without fearing deportation or...
She is an amazing human, and I love her, and I just met her like the other day.
What's one thing you can say about Tania?
Tania, she is a very motivated person. She's willing to do whatever it takes to reach her goal. She's very outgoing, yet shy in a way, but she's able to relate to people in that way.
Tried my best because no matter what, my mother has always insisted that college is the main priority. Higher education will get you places that you probably would never have dreamed of. So I worked very hard throughout my academic career, and come graduation to find out that I had the big state scholarship, which was the Live Scholarship, and then to find out a couple months later that no, I could not use my scholarship even though I earned it fair and square just like everyone else, only because of my status. That was the hardest part. But then I came upon I started doing my research on actual scholarships for people like myself, and it opened up a world of so many opportunities. I was already behind. I had missed the deadline for so many other scholarships that I could have done, So I started doing even more research, and I came across them in one of the search links. And my first year, that it was right after high school, it was the day before graduation. That night, I found it and I started the process immediately. I started my process immediately, and then the next day was graduation, so it was very busy. And the day after graduation, I went back to try to finish the rest of it. Come to find out, the application had closed. So it was a little devastating to find out that, I missed the deadline by one day. It kind of made me feel defeated for a moment, but then I got the reply from the Dream.us support system, and they pretty much told me, we're sorry that you missed it, but there's always next year. So that gave me a chance of hope, and I got it the following year. I found out at like 2 a.m. after work. I got the email. I was in the bathroom getting ready for bed, and my phone rang, and because that's when all my notifications started coming in. So when it rang, I realized that one of them was an email from Delaware State University. And I opened it up, and it said, congratulations, you've been accepted as one of our scholars, yada, yada, yada. And so I wanted to freak out, but I was the only one awake in my house, and I didn't want to wake everyone else up. So instead, I recorded my reaction and sent it to my friend, because she lived in another state by this point, and it was just something very emotional.
And recently, how did you feel about President Trump's decision?
I definitely felt heartbroken the minute it happened. I felt like I needed to be surrounded. I felt like I was drowning again. We were being pushed back into the shadows, pushed back into our hiding places, which is something that I definitely did not want to go back to. But afterwards, I came to the realization that maybe, just maybe, it was actually a good thing. As dreamers, we got comfortable with President Obama's DACA program. We forgot to fight. We felt like it was permanent, like there was nothing that could harm us. But let's be honest, it was only a temporary band-aid for this giant wound that is immigration in this system. So in a way, I'm heartbroken, just like everyone else. I'm devastated, I am fearful, I feel weak, but at the same time, I'm glad, because it reminded us that our fight is far from over. We have so much that we need to keep fighting for. We need to keep speaking out. If you look at it, so many more rallies for DACA students have been, occurring. So many more interviews, so many more dreamers are actually stepping up into the spotlight and being like, here I am, this is my story, I am not here to harm you, I am here to try to do something better for your country, which is my country, and, just help in any way that we can. Some of us want to join the military, some of us just want to join the workforce, some of us just want to get a better education. And to me, every, learning throughout elementary school and high school, my idea of the United States and what it was established for is to provide people with a better way of life, to provide them with the American dream. And the American dream includes higher education. So I don't understand why we are being denied that. My biggest advice to you is take advantage of everything we've got left. Yes, at the moment we are on a 6-month deadline, but use those 6 months as much as you can. If you can still renew your status, renew it as soon as possible. Get the paperwork in. Take advantage. And if you recently renewed, take advantage of the time you have left. Even if Congress does step up and hear our cries and answer us and does get something resolved, you still need to take advantage of everything. Those of you graduating, research for scholarships. Don't wait like I did to the last minute because you've lost all hope. Research ahead of time. Research now so that you can get your applications in, you can get your process started, and just take advantage of all the opportunities that other people offer you, because we have so many people on our side that it's rather impossible for us to fail.